Are you frustrated by the gaps in one of history's most influential stories? For centuries, a profound mystery has captivated scholars, theologians, and spiritual seekers alike: the lost years of Jesus. We have detailed accounts of his birth and his ministry starting around the age of 30, but the intervening 18 years are a near complete blank in the canonical texts. What happened during this formative period? Where did he go? What did he learn? While history may not provide a direct answer, the timeless principles of self-discovery and inner development, as shared by respected spiritual masters, can offer a compelling framework for what such a transformative journey might entail. In this extended exploration, we will delve into a philosophical model for these lost years, not based on new historical claims, but on the universal path to wisdom and self-mastery. We will journey through the very stages of growth, challenge, and revelation that define a legendary period of preparation. This isn't just about uncovering a historical mystery, it's about discovering a blueprint for our own lost years, those periods of our lives dedicated to finding our true purpose. The silence in the historical record about Jesus' life between the ages of 12 and 30 is one of the most tantalizing voids in ancient history. Imagine a young person, having already demonstrated extraordinary wisdom at the temple, suddenly vanishing from the public narrative. This period represents the ultimate problem for biographers and believers. Traditional accounts offer little to no information, leaving a vacuum that has been filled with countless theories and speculations over the centuries. Some traditions suggest he may have traveled to India, Persia, or even Britain, learning from other spiritual masters. The apocryphal Gospel of the Infancy of Jesus Christ, for instance, contains anecdotal tales of his youth, though these are not accepted as canonical scripture by mainstream Christianity. The problem is not just a lack of information, but the implication of that silence. It suggests a period of intense private preparation, a journey so profound that its details were perhaps meant to be understood not through historical records, but through the personal quest for inner truth. But here's the twist. What if the key to understanding these years lies not in uncovering a hidden itinerary, but in comprehending the universal stages of human development and spiritual maturation? Stay with me, because we are about to explore a powerful philosophical framework for this journey. The real secret to understanding this period comes later in our discussion, where we will connect these stages to a disciplined path of self-mastery. The first crucial stage in such a formative period would undoubtedly be a departure from the known. At the age of 12, Jesus is depicted as astounding the elders in the temple with his understanding. Following this, he returns to Nazareth with his parents and, as the Gospel of Luke states, increased in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and man. But what did this increase entail? To truly forge one's own path, a departure from the familiar is often necessary. This doesn't just mean a physical journey, but a psychological and spiritual one. It's about stepping away from the expectations of family and community to discover a deeper calling. This stage is marked by a profound sense of inner questioning and a pull towards the unknown. For anyone on a path of self-discovery, this first step is the most critical and often the most difficult. It requires immense courage to leave the comfort of certainty for the wilderness of a personal quest. But wait until you see what happens next, as this departure is only the beginning of a far more arduous process. If you've ever felt the pull to embark on your own journey of discovery, comment yes below. You are not alone in this feeling. Don't skip ahead. The game-changing tip on how to navigate your own departure stage comes at the 8-minute mark. Following the departure, the next logical and essential phase is a period of intensive learning and observation. If one were to travel, the purpose would not be tourism, but a deep immersion in new cultures, philosophies, and ways of life. Think of it as an apprenticeship to humanity itself. This stage is about absorbing knowledge, not just from scrolls and texts, but from direct experience. It's about observing the human condition in all its facets, the joys, the sorrows, the struggles, and the aspirations of people from different walks of life. This is where a universal truth begins to emerge, a truth that transcends cultural and religious boundaries. This phase could involve manual labor, learning a trade, and living amongst the common people. Through this, one develops empathy, compassion, and a grounded understanding of the world. It is a stark contrast to a life of secluded study, and it is here that wisdom begins to forge a connection with reality. Most people miss the importance of this step. I'll explain why in a moment. But first, let's compare two potential paths for this learning phase. One approach, let's call it option A, would be to seek out and debate with the great scholars and mystics of the age, a purely intellectual pursuit. Option B, on the other hand, involves learning from the anonymous, everyday interactions with ordinary people. While option A builds knowledge, option B cultivates wisdom. The reason so many miss the vital importance of this learning from the ground up stage is our modern obsession with formal credentials and recognized teachers. We often believe that wisdom can only be acquired from famous gurus or prestigious institutions. However, the most profound truths are often found in the simplest of interactions: the patience of a farmer, the resilience of a craftsman, the unconditional love of a mother. These are the living scriptures from which one can learn the deepest lessons about life. This phase of the journey is about recognizing the divine in the mundane, the extraordinary in the ordinary. Let's take a real-world example. Consider the training of a Shaolin monk. While they study ancient texts, a significant portion of their development comes from a disciplined routine of physical labor, farming, and daily chores. This isn't just about humility, it's about understanding the natural laws of cause and effect, the rhythm of the seasons, and the interconnectedness of all things. If something goes wrong in this phase, say you encounter hostility or rejection, the key is not to retreat, but to practice compassion and seek to understand the root of that suffering. This is where true spiritual strength is forged. Now try this exercise. For one day, consciously try to learn something profound from every person you interact with, no matter how brief or seemingly insignificant the encounter. See what happens to your perception of the world. After years of observation and learning, the journey must turn inward, leading to a stage of seclusion and inner synthesis. This is where all the gathered knowledge and experience is distilled into a coherent philosophy, a personal truth. This period is often spent in solitude, in a place of natural power and silence, like a desert or a mountain range. The purpose of this seclusion is to quiet the external noise and listen to the voice of the soul. It is a time for deep meditation, self-reflection, and the confrontation of one's own inner demons: fear, doubt, and ego. It is in this crucible of solitude that a spiritual identity is truly forged. This is not a passive retreat. It is an active and often grueling process of mental and spiritual purification. Here, one must reconcile the wisdom gained from the world with the intuitive truths that arise from within. But here's the twist. This stage of solitude is often where the greatest temptations and distractions arise. The mind, unaccustomed to silence, can create powerful illusions. This is the ultimate test of clarity and focus before the final stage of the preparatory journey can begin. Wait until you see how this period of intense solitude prepares one for a public mission. The principles to navigate this challenging phase are crucial for anyone seeking to make a significant impact on the world. To overcome the challenges of seclusion, one must have cultivated a deep sense of purpose. This purpose acts as an anchor, a north star that guides one through the turbulent waters of the subconscious mind. Without a clear why, the solitude can become a prison rather than a sanctuary. A micro-solution here is the practice of mindful intention. At the beginning of each day of reflection or meditation, clearly articulate your purpose. For instance, My intention today is to understand the nature of fear, or my intention is to cultivate unconditional love. This practice brings focus and structure to the inner work. Let's look at an unexpected case study. The famous psychologist Carl Jung underwent a period of intense and disturbing confrontation with the unconscious after his break with Freud. He withdrew from public life and intentionally immersed himself in his dreams and fantasies. This terrifying journey, which he documented in his Red Book, became the foundation for his most important theories on archetypes and the collective unconscious. His experience demonstrates that the path to profound insight often leads through a period of inner chaos. So, if you are going through a period of self-doubt or confusion, don't view it as a setback. Instead, consider it a necessary part of the synthesis process. The final stage before emerging into public life is the mastery and integration phase. After the departure, the learning, and the seclusion, the individual is no longer the same. The wisdom gained is not just an intellectual concept, it is an embodied reality. This stage is about integrating the newfound understanding into every aspect of one's being, thoughts, words, and actions. It is a state of being where there is no separation between what one knows and how one lives. This is the essence of self-mastery. The individual is now ready to serve others, not from a place of ego or a desire for recognition, but from a place of genuine compassion and a deep-seated connection to a higher purpose. Their presence alone can have a transformative effect on those around them. This is the culmination of the lost years, the emergence of a master, fully prepared for their life's work. The long period of silence is broken, not by a novice, but by a figure of immense spiritual authority and power. This philosophical model, drawing on universal principles of human development, offers a compelling narrative for what may have transpired during those 18 years of preparation. This framework is not just a historical theory, it is a practical guide for your own life. Identify the stages you might be in. Are you in a departure phase, feeling the need for change? Are you in a learning phase, absorbing new knowledge and experiences? Or are you in a period of seclusion, trying to make sense of it all? Recognizing your current stage is the first step toward consciously navigating your own journey of growth. Remember, the goal is not to replicate a specific historical path, but to apply the underlying principles of self-development to your unique circumstances. True wisdom is not about having all the answers, but about living the questions in a profound and authentic way. If this exploration of the path to self-mastery resonated with you, watch my next video on the 5 stages of inner transformation for a deeper dive into these concepts. To help you on your own journey, save this guide for a step-by-step breakdown of the philosophical framework we've discussed. And finally, for more content that bridges timeless wisdom with modern life, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because in part 2 of this discussion, I'll be revealing how these principles can be applied to overcome the 3 biggest obstacles to personal growth in the 21st century. Your journey is just beginning, and I am here to guide you every step of the way.